What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the NH Experience here on SiriusXM and YouTube. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be on the planet. I definitely have a very special guest in the house. She has broken barriers. She sets records on her with her on-track performances and has made her presence felt at all times. She has been named to Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People. You can see her now commentating, and she's an entrepreneur and so much more. We're going to get into all of that with my very special guest, the one and only Danica Patrick. What's going on, Danica? How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Now, I mean, you've accomplished so much in your life thus far. I mean, that's not to say what more things that you're going to be able to accomplish, but what we've seen thus far, I want to kind of take it back a little bit if I can. Obviously, you growing up in racing, realizing this is what you want to do ultimately and make your mark in this world with that. I wanted to ask you, what was going on in your mind at 16 years of age, leaving home and then going across the pond to compete and to live out your dream?
That's a fair question. Very fair question. I was thinking I get to leave high school and go move to a country and ocean between my parents at 16. This sounds fantastic. Um, which it was for a little while. But really, ultimately, it was about being able to take the next step in racing. When I was 14, I was at the Indy 500 and I met this family, this group of people in this suite, and I there was a British guy, and I was talking to him, and I was like, I guess I asked all the right questions, and I just remember he said I can learn more in 1 year in England than 5 years in America. And so fast forward, they contacted me. A couple years later, they had watched my career and they said, we're interested in having a meeting with you. And we'd like to talk about taking you over to England to race. And so that's what I did. And so I packed my bags at 16. I left high school halfway through my junior year. And I never went back and I got my GED. And at that point in time, I definitely thought to myself, man, I need to make this work. I just left high school.
Yeah, shout out to those of us that have the GEDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You also competed when you came back. You also were able to compete in the Indy 500. You also competed in the NASCAR series, several races doing with that. But what were some of your experiences? How did Europe help shape you to deal with some of those experiences? And then after so many races, how were you able to get some of the respect from your peers as they saw you like, hey, she's not going anywhere. She's going to be
Mhm.
cemented right here.
I think attrition is important, sticking around and proving yourself. But England taught me to be tough. England taught me to put up a bit more of a guard. I went over there a little young and green and naive, and it kind of made me harder and it made me tougher. And it didn't really teach me much about racing, to be honest. So the guy lied. But it taught me a lot about life and taught me a lot about, just being strong and having like my will and my mind became stronger because it was so hard and I didn't really feel very welcome that I had to do it all on my own. Like I just didn't have any help over there. My family wasn't there. I didn't have a manager over there. It was just kind of me every weekend going out and, being basically demoted within the team to the lowest because I had the least amount of people lobbying for me. It was just me. And I was young. I didn't know what to do. I just showed up at the track. I didn't know how to do anything different. And so, but it really made me tough. And it wasn't until I came back to the States that I really learned much about cars. And I got to give that credit to Bobby Rahal. When I came back to the States, I got, involved with him and building my way up to what ended up being the Formula Atlantic Series and then IndyCar. And so I started my IndyCar career when I was 23. After being back in the States for, well, it's been 2 years. I did 2 years of Formula Atlantic. So pretty quickly I moved along. And then after 7 years of IndyCar, I did 7 years of IndyCar and NASCAR. And so yeah, so it ended up being a pretty fun roller coaster of a ride career. Made some, had created some records, had some tears, had some definite tough times, but I do think that England made me tough.
Definitely. you so accomplished in the world of racing, but you also accomplished in the business world. Uh, Listen, Danica, I must have missed the memo because I didn't get the bottle of wine. I know you owning a vineyard and all of
You didn't
that.
get it?
So no, I didn't get it for some reason. I don't know.
Got my name on it. It says Danica Rose. You didn't see
I,
that come in?
you know what? I got to go check my Amazon guy. I don't know what's going on,
We'll make that
but
right for you.
well, I appreciate that. I want you just to talk a little bit about what got you interested in owning a vineyard and then getting into the wine industry and what makes a good wine.
It's a very simple answer, and everyone always has a little giggle. The reason why I make wine is because I like to drink it. And so it's really that simple. I just very like curious because I love drinking wine and it's like a hobby. Like I don't know if you drink wine, but you
Yeah.
plug anything else in. It could be whiskey, beer, it could be food, right? It becomes a hobby where you like become you like learn the craft of it and what really makes good wine. And so that was your second part of your question was what makes good wine. And that's just like this fine level of detail, like everything from, the grape rootstock to the clones to how they clip them, how much fruit you drop, how the rows are oriented, the sunlight it's getting, the coverage, the where exactly it's planted. Some dirt's better than other dirt. And then the little details after that with, when you pick it, harvesting at the right time, the blend itself, and just, there's just so many details that make a really good wine that's why the good wines stay so good consistently year after year, even though they can have slight differences in their flavor profile. They're all very, very good at a very high level because they just check all those boxes.
Oh, absolutely. So are you more of a red or a white or both?
Well, I always feel like wine drinkers go on this basic evolution of like sweet white wine, dry white wine, red, and then everything. And so I'm in the everything phase. So I drink pretty much everything.
Hey, I like that. I like that. I'm the same way. I'm in the everything phase. I also wanted to ask you this too. What was it like being in that Jay-Z Show Me What You Got video? That looked like
Oh,
a lot of fun.
show me what you got, little mama.
Yeah.
I remember, I think that was 2006, maybe
Mhm.
seven, somewhere in the six. And I remember the request came in, like we'd like her to be in a music video with Jay-Z. And my PR agent at the time, he asked and he kind of looked at me like, it's in Monaco and you have to fly. And I was like, this is a yes. So I don't think he like maybe listened to rap or knew much about him as an artist. But it was just really cool. I went over there and Dale Jr. was also in the music video. So I remember that and I always feel so silly, but they go by J and B. Like Jay was very excited that he could facilitate this introduction between myself and Dale Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr., because I had actually never met Dale. And so I remember he had flown in from, I don't remember what race he was doing, but he flew overnight in a private plane, like with his group of people, and arrived on set. And like as soon as he got on set, this is in Monaco, like right on the water, beautiful spot. And he was getting a haircut, getting ready for the shoot. Like he landed, went to set, got a haircut. We did the video, and it was really cool. We had lunch at some beautiful restaurant up high up on the mountain, drinking Bellinis with, Beyonce, and it was really cool. And then we went to dinner, and it was this beautiful restaurant that had a ceiling that opened up, and I remember Dale Jr. had his first sip of coffee that night for the first time in his life. It was a big day.
That sounds like some boss like out of this world experiences.
It is still one of the coolest things I've ever done. So let's just not look at that as being like the one of the million. It's pretty high up there.
Okay, I got you. Now you're also going to be appearing at VEECON in Los Angeles, August 9th through the 11th at LA Live. How did you become a part of this great festival? What made you want to be a part of this? Obviously, we know how big Gary Vee is and
Yeah.
influential he is, but what made
Yeah.
you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, because of that. And because I interviewed Gary a couple of years ago for my podcast. And so we've kept in touch here and there. I actually ran into him in Aspen over New Year's, and finally got to meet him in person and say hi. But just a big fan of him. I just love his honesty. I love how direct he is. I also love how humble he is. And then just what kind of great empire that can create. So just a really cool guy, and he asked if I'd be a part of it, and it was feasible. So I said, let's do it.
Well, I'm glad you're a part of it. I'm looking forward to seeing you out there. Anybody wants more information, please go to VEECON.co. That's VEECON.co, August 9th through the 11th here in downtown Los Angeles at LA Live. Real quick, because you've always been a trendsetter. I've always looked at you as a trendsetter. You said a very, to me, a very, very important quote. You said, I was brought up to be the fastest driver, not the fastest girl.
That's
When
right.
you look at the evolution though of women in sports, no matter what it may be, we talk about the WNBA, we look at Caitlin Clark, we look at Angel Reese. How have you been able to see that, and what have you seen out of that as far as just the elevation of the sport as well as the intrigue from fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's important that women have women to look up to, and especially when it crosses over into areas that are less common, sport being one of them. And I love when women excel and get attention. Caitlin Clark, obviously, been one of the more recent ones that just sort of like took the world by storm. And so, great talent is always fun to watch. Like everyone loves that. And I think that's what it's about. It's about watching, like, take for instance, gymnastics, like with the Olympics going on and watching like how incredible they are at that. It's like we love to watch excellence. And so when an athlete, but especially when a female athlete can excel and be very excellent on, such a visual level, like we love that. We love watching. We love to be inspired because we think, what can we do? And we watch in awe, and we subconsciously wonder what we can do. And so I think it's very important. It's important for men and women to all be very good, all be able to show their talents off. So yeah, I think it's great. I don't know about the whole issue that we see these days with gender coming into it, with all of that stuff. I don't think I agree with that, but when it comes down to classic sports with what we've seen in the past for so long, I love to see people be spectacular at something.
Lastly, for you, what's legendary mean to you? What does impactful mean to you?
Well, I think that legendary or impactful, I'll pick that one. Impactful is really just how many lives you can affect. And it's really not about making someone a certain way, but inspiring them to do it for themselves so that it stays, so that it sticks. You can't make anyone do or be anything, but you can inspire them to be their best. And that's really, I think, what it's all about.
Well, you know what, Danica, I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on here, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing you at VCon and so many other places. And congratulations on the podcast as well.
Thank you. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.